Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Madman Activities. I'm your host, Mike. I'm actually rocking solo today. Hopefully, my co host Jaden will be able to jump in with us a little bit later. But today, I have a very special guest for you guys. Easily on my top 10 of wanting to get on this podcast. This man is a certified jack of all trades, filmmaker, writer, director, stuntman, actor, lover of comic books, most of all. And truly, that is why I enjoy his work. Um, he is currently has a project that literally has over 240,000 views right now. Project just came out, what, maybe 2 weeks ago? Maybe? Not even. Yeah. Guys, I am happy to introduce Jourdan Barnett, the founder of Unworthy Productions, onto the podcast. What's going on, Jourdan? How you feeling,
How
brother?
you doing, man? I'm feeling good. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Bro, I thank you for coming on. Um, let's start here. I want to start here. What got you into filmmaking in general?
Like you said, being a big comic book fan growing up, being a big nerd is in general. Growing up on Fox Kids and that iconic lineup,
Oh,
and really
yeah,
that's just been putting in 10,000 hours of being a nerd, really, and just falling backwards into it. Luckily, with
for sure.
several groups of filmmakers and stunt people and cosplayers. So
Oh, I definitely want to tap into your stunts and your cosplay community. I want to tap into that a little bit later on. Um, because of how this has grown, did you ever think that this would get this big when you did episode one?
Uh, no, but I hoped. I didn't really have an idea of like
I
how big it would be before it came out, but I just really had faith in the idea, and that's what's got me this far. Is
really
just the story. Yeah, the story very much. I mean, writing I think is a gateway into the soul, and if you look at anyone's body of work, I think you can kind of put together the pieces of like who they are as a person, and
mm,
Unworthy is very much a reflection of my journey and my state of mind and just everything. The
mm,
idea of being unworthy, I feel like we all kind of are in our own ways, and we try and find
right.
ways to become worthy, whatever that means to us as individuals. So it's a universal story, but it's something that's so near and dear to my heart that, yeah, I'm just so happy that it's actually resonated with people and gotten as big as it has.
Mm, okay. So, because of how big it's gotten, we're on episode 6 in total, 4 official episodes, 2 side stories. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think
Yep, yep,
that's where
yep.
we're at.
3 if you count Zach's turn, yeah.
Man, I forgot about that for a minute. I remember that cliffhanger
That
at
was
the end of episode 4, and I'm like, I remember that. I remember that little retcon that we added right there in the middle, and I was like, that's perfect.
me.
Um,
It's still floating out
yeah,
there. It hasn't come back
it's still floating
yet.
out there. It was, oh man, we're gonna touch on that. We're gonna touch on that. Um, so what's it been like, dealing with such a massive crew? Like, shouts out to your partner, Beautiful Diz. She did a BTS
Yeah.
video for episode 4, showing off
Mm.
just what it looks like and how many people are involved in this project just for a 45-minute episode, no matter. What's it been like,
Yeah.
like just hurting that and all that creative mind?
It's definitely been a process. We didn't start off that big. If we had, there's no way we'd be able to manage it. The series has grown with us as filmmakers and
Hmm.
creatives. And big shout out to most of the people who are on our production crew. People on our stunt team, Fight for Film. Shout out to Eric, our stunt coordinator, action designer. Um, yeah, we didn't even have a dedicated stunt team when we started Unworthy, and you see that reflected in the episode. That's why Cycle Minutes can be as big as it is, because early on the team was just the core group, and that was everybody we had. Like that was everybody you saw on screen in the first episode was literally everybody that we knew. um, and just
I'm,
that
I'm gonna say
that
this
old
much.
adage. Oh, say it again.
Sorry, it's one of the things that I loved about episode 1, and throughout the series you
Mm.
do this, but especially episode 1, that I was like, all right, this guy's on my list, I'm subscribing immediately, is when they morphed and it mimicked the 1997 morph from the movie, and I was like, yep, this is absolutely perfect. I couldn't have done it better. Yeah, subscribe. Yeah. I was like, that's
I'm happy to
perfect,
hear that.
man. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
I
that
mean
was
that.
an
I mean, you see
immediate
love
thing.
letters. Yeah, you see little love
This is a
letters like that to the original series and just things I love in general throughout
the
the entire
the
series. So
entire
yeah,
series is truly just a love letter to Power Rangers as a whole throughout the entire thing.
yeah.
At least I would think so. Um, s- Something
Hmm.
we want to get into is the entire multiverse itself, but I think we need to start with the most recent project, which is Psycho Menace. The Psycho Menace, like, was Psycho Menace always something you were gonna do?
No, I mean if you're going way back to episode one, no, that wasn't even. There was no vision for like, oh, one day we're gonna do an in space thing. Like we kind of
Okay.
go well twofold. One, I go where the story takes me, and also
Mm,
where my inspiration kind of goes, or like because that's to produce anything, you gotta completely be in love with whatever you're doing. It's too much work for you not to be loving every second of it and just have like a passion for it.
right.
But originally, I mean, Unworthy started with an unaired pilot script that no one will ever see. That's a very different version of the episode one script. Um,
Really?
but there was, yeah,
Okay.
it was gonna be like, not necessarily standalone, but like a long short film that wasn't gonna necessarily be a
Okay.
series. But I did know that there was a potential story for more there, depending on how episode one did. And in fact, the episode one after Primorphicon 2018, it blew up and got really popular. That's kind of what catapulted us into making the rest of the series. But every entry, I've got a long term plan, but every entry kind of changes depending on what resources we have available. And just we've been lucky
Mm,
that as we've gone on, our resources and our skill level and our ability to manage all the different loose ends of what a larger production is, like, grew with us. So by the time you got to episode four, because even episode four was originally just going to be a side story, it wasn't planned to be a number episode. But by the time the script was done, um, I realized I'm like, this is so important and integral to what's going to come later that we should just make it a numbered episode because it's the deepest backstory we'll get on one of the core members of what I call the multiversal Ranger Avengers. That's going to be leading into
yep.
episode five. And then after that, we had already introduced elements of like Ninja, for example, in episode three, and I knew I wanted to go back to that, but
Hmm.
because he luckily had access to a really good stuntman at the time, we did a solo special, which also was kind of practice for us to do high level anime effects. So that's why Ninja's Oath exists. Then with Psycho Menace, at the end of episode four, we had even introduced we touched on introducing the Andros for episode five, and at the time,
Hmm.
I wasn't necessarily going to make a full episode about it, but I just ended up becoming so enamored by the idea. I was like, you know what? And at that time, we actually had a dedicated stunt group, and it's like to do, and then it's like the question of how do we do space? How do we go to space? What sets make what will
Yes.
look like space? That's a hard thing to pull off. Do we have the number of people that were necessary for the actual like the big battle scenes? Um, Psycho Menace wouldn't have been possible after like even episode three. It took us the amount of time between three and Psycho Menace to actually have the resources to do Psycho Menace. Um, and then we just luckily fell backwards into also being able to work with Christopher Kamen Lee, which brought a whole new level of authenticity to it. So it's not, I wouldn't say it was planned from the beginning, but it was something that was seeded and then was able to be extrapolated upon just given the circumstances of the time period, which is perfect.
Mm.
I love those happy accidents in filmmaking too, where things just seem to align perfectly. And Psycho Menace serves as kind of like a final, like chapter before we get to episode five, where we've been gathering
Hmm.
ranges from different multiverses for the final battle with the Arbiter. Yeah.
Yes. I remember a post because something I really enjoy about Unworthy and about you in general is that you're very James Gunn encoded. And what I mean by that is like James Gunn is on Twitter so much that somebody said, "Hey, are we gonna ever see Condiment King?" And he's just like, "No." You're on there so much that you put up a post one day about episode 5 and the image of the concept art from Kang Dynasty, and I'm like, okay, now you have my attention. Now you can have my full undivided attention. It's like concept art for episode 5, and I'm just like, okay, I'm paying attention now because I need to know who else is about to come jump the arbiter essentially. And I think that's another thing that's really cool is that one of the things about the Power Rangers that always kind of baffled me in the series, and some Rangers do it, some Rangers don't. There's always at least 5 of them. Yet rarely do they ever just straight up jump people. And you see that at the end of episode 4. They're
Yeah.
like, let's just call in everyone who's ever been affected by the
Yeah.
arbiter. He can't stop us all at once. And that
Get him.
plus exactly. The entire series as a whole. What has it been like? Because you've created such an original concept with the Arbiter and the Unworthy Universe, while still remaining vastly true to that of the entire Power Rangers franchise. What has that experience been like for you?
I mean, I've just been so happy that people have really resonated with the Arbiter to the point where like because I mean, this is we've been at this for like 5 years now. Like to think about that, it's like that's half the length of the first part of the MCU to Endgame. Like that was 10 years.
Yeah.
Like so, we're half that. It's like wow, it has been a journey. um, and we wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for the Arbiter. Something like a villain that's so compelling that it makes people want to see him get
Mm,
his ass kicked at this point. It's like, yo, when is he gonna get his? um,
exactly.
and it's because I think the Arbiter kind of, like I've said this before, but he reflects life. Like it's that idea of like
Mm,
you think you have things figured out when you think you have everything together, and life just shows up and it's like, okay, I'm gonna knock you down. Can you get back up? And if you do, have you learned
mm,
anything? And that's kind of what the Arbiter represents. I feel like and he's an amalgamation of a lot of my favorite villains too, like Thanos, the Terminator, Predator. Like, and I make no qualms about making that very obvious, in whether it be the dialogue or in mannerisms or just
yes.
his
That
aesthetic. You know,
there's a clip that
um,
I'll probably add in here about your mannerisms. You're fantastic at that, and your cast is fantastic at that. Me and my little brother, he's the only person that knows Power Rangers information like me. We sat down, we watched Psycho Menace the day it came out. The moment the Empress came on screen, we were both like, bro, this is Astronomer. We're like, the walk alone was
yeah,
like, oh, this is Astronomer. I'm like, there's no way it's not Astronomer with that, like the way she was moving. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is definitely Astronomer. I'm like, put money on it. I'm betting you right now it's Astronomer. And then it happened, and I'm like, I told you, bro. The mannerisms were right there in our faces. And that's like, that one of those small details from Unworthy. Amazing, bro. Amazing.
thank
Um,
you. I mean, I'm glad you noticed that too. Yes, that was very much intentional. Like I literally, like side by side, I'm like this, and it's. I wonder if somebody has the video where it's like you can see me behind the scenes directing the walk. Like, no, she walks like this in the show. Like it's all
no,
like,
I
yeah, dude.
need that posted online, bro. I need that, bro. That is amazing. Yeah.
Oh
That
man.
you've done so many different things. And one of the things that I remember, there's a lot of things from episode 3. Episode 3 is my personal favorite episode because of your scale with it. The Arbiter's backstory, the introductories, the cameo appearances, all that. One of the things that was so cool, one of your cameo appearances from a group of Rangers, I think it was Tommy, probably Tommy and friends. I don't know specifically what Rangers they would have been. They tried to morph,
Mm.
and before they can even let out a call, Arbiter grabs Tommy by the throat. And I'm like, that's disrespectful. You're breaking anime rules. This is not Attack on Titan. Like, what are we doing right now? And you
Exactly.
made that for real. And you made that comeback again in Psycho Menace with your Megaforce Rangers, which was like the for me, that was the oh shit moment because I was just like, I wasn't expecting it. Um, having done that,
Yeah.
there's so many things from the 198 universe that are just like all over the place. I call it the A23 effect. Um, you you've probably seen
Mm.
Multiverse of Madness. Um, The way
Yeah,
that Wanda and them left 823, the entire Illuminati is dead, Xavier's gone, multiple people, the Sorcerer Supreme is possibly oh no, he did survive. He just knocked him out. But nonetheless, a lot of people are dead. There should be a lot of angry X-Men and Fantastic Fours on Wanda's doorstep by the time we get to Secret Wars. Easily. You left a lot of
fact,
destruction there.
fact.
I have a couple of questions, man. What happens after
So
198? Are we ever gonna have to get to see that anymore? Are we gonna get to see some of these characters, or are we sticking with Andros and Corone as we go into Episode 5?
we're sticking with Andros and Corona episode 5.
Okay,
People have asked if we're doing a part 2. That's not in the cards, but it's not impossible.
not impossible. I like that. I like that. Oop, something just went wrong.
Yo, sorry, bro. This app was
No,
like,
man.
nah, you got no space, bro. You're out. I'm like, what?
Bro, that we've had some technical difficulties on camera before. This is nothing new, bro. Yeah, so okay,
Got you.
talking about Earth 198. I think my most lingering question, because I have a lot of them. Like I started like deep diving like I do Marvel movies, and I'm like, so if all the Rangers are dead, where is Terra Venture? Where's Mystic Force? Turtle Cove? Like I just started deep diving. But my biggest one is,
Yeah.
where is Jason, my friend? Where's Jason at? Because you made it
Of
very
that world?
obvious of that world. You made it very obvious that Jason, there was no telling who was underneath that mask. But then your set photos behind the scenes show a gold Zeo Ranger. So where is the Jason of 198, my friend?
I'm sorry to tell you this, but in my head canon, that was him. He died.
That was him. He died. Dang.
He got taken out.
Man.
You know what's funny?
Okay.
Somebody was like, "Yo, that had to be Jason because no way Rocky was going that hard." I was like, "Damn,
Come
poor
on,
Rocky.
bro.
That's messed
Come
up."
on. Why are we disrespecting Rocky like that now? Come on. Come on. Okay.
No, I was like, "Damn." But yeah, so what you're referring to, the Gold Ranger, that was actually
Yes.
a deleted scene that we used for our patrons. But I'll let you guys let you know here's an exclusive that yeah, that was supposed to be Jason, and the Gold Ranger scene was deleted because it was filmed on green screen. So doing the VFX would have been a lot of work, and in a world that we wouldn't release, it was like, do we want to spend another like 2 weeks on just this scene, or do we want to get it out?
Gotcha.
But it also would have been placed in the intro, which would have like what it shows would have ruined the reveal of what that dark morphocron does in the very
Gotcha.
beginning, rather than reveal to Andros toward the end. So I wanted to
Okay.
hold that card closer to the chest. But basically, it was the deleted scene is her using the dark morphocron to transform Treya Triforia, the Gold Zeo Ranger, into the Psycho Gold.
Really? You're telling me this entire time Psycho Gold would have been, wow. I didn't put that together.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. That explains why he was on Demon Time
So the idea
entire
was
episode.
this is all going to
Yep,
exactly.
Yeah, that explains. Like, wow. Okay. Yeah, man. Nah, I wish I got to see that, bro. That's a really cool concept.
Yeah, we're gonna do a comic tie-in.
Okay.
We'll do a comic tie-in that's actually gonna flesh that out a little bit more, so you can see what happened to the Rangers that weren't in the intro Cycle Menace, that different battles in different worlds. That's the idea that either the Rangers were killed or they were turned into psychos. So that's what happened in that world.
She did imply that. Wow. Okay. That's an amazing concept. I can't wait to see that
was
comic.
the idea. Once she had Ghost Ace power. Yeah, once she had Ghost Ace power, that's when it was powerful enough to affect the entire multiverse. But she was doing it one person at a time in that universe.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I like, and the fact that she still got that on her right now in Earth 218 right now. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know how to feel about that. That's not good. Yeah. Oh, it's like that I forgot what the name is. It's there's a weapon that Reed Richards has in the comics. It's like literally the device like dissolves or disintegrates thing, but like it's not like no, it doesn't atomize. Like it's gone. It's not coming back. If I shoot you with this, you're not coming back. You understand me?
Yeah.
So it's like to know that she has something like that on her, a little unsettling. We'll say that much.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun having her in episode 5. She's like the wild card, like having a full on villain as part of the team.
Yes, yeah. that is that. Man, so many things about episode 5, but one you brought up Gosei. How? Like you got Christopher Kamen, Patrick David, and Goff Darlin to come back and voice the original. Like how, brother? How did you get that done?
I mean, thanks to DJ, honestly, from Bloodline at the Grid. He's the director and co-writer of that series. Yeah, me and him are friends. So,
okay,
he did me a huge favor of allowing, kind of sharing resources, and we're going to be doing more collabs with Bloodline, both ways. So you even see a moment in Psycho Menace in the beginning of the universe, you see the Bloodline universe. That's going to come back.
I remember seeing that
too. But yeah, we're going to be doing
Bloodline is coming back for episode 5 as well. Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Going back to episode 3, I'm a really big fan of crossovers. Say what you will about them.
Yeah.
The Arrowverse has a special place in my heart for the simple point of like during December.
I mean,
for real, like during December, it'd be like, oh, it's Barry and Iris's wedding. Okay, cool. Wait, Nazis? What's going on? What's happening right now? That's how it'll be randomly, man. And it'll have everybody just come together and fight evil, and then go on about their day after drinking Iris's grandma's rum. What is it? Rum. I don't even know what it's called. It's like a milkshake or something like that. Yeah, and.
Eggnog?
Episode 3.
What was it?
Yeah, eggnog. There it was. Yeah, Auntie Esther's eggnog, or Grandma Esther's eggnog. That's what it was called. So, with episode 3, you had so many cameos from across the board that I was just like, "Whoa!" You see the scale of what the Arbiter is capable of, and you brought that back in episode 4 as well. With the ending of like, why don't we just call more of us? And you get to see that again. And now you're seeing more of it with Earth 198. And it's a testament to like, normally people keep to themselves, studios keep to themselves. Bloodline is its own thing. Shattered Past is its own thing. Unworthy its own thing. Like, no, you're just like, bro, come on, like make a cameo real quick. It's like, I would love to. You need some help with something? I got you. Let's go. And it's a testament to that, and it's really cool to see, man. It's amazing to see.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, to me, that's what Power Rangers is all about. It's all team based. It's collaborative. Like even filmmaking itself is a collaborative art form. Like for as many hats as I wear, I couldn't make Unworthy by myself. It requires people. It requires people from different walks of life, different talents, coming together to make something bigger than themselves. Like that's why I love the Together We Are More phrase so much, because it represents everything, not only that Power represents, but also what we do as filmmakers. So that's and we're quoting CW, like that's CW at its best. Like Arbiter's got so much Black Flash and Savitar baked into his DNA. Even his line, the lines that now people, I've seen a lot of funny comments too. People are like, it must be real easy to write the Arbiter now, whereas a lot of it's Control C, Control V. I'm like, you're not wrong, but even that comes from the DNA of Arrow of you have failed this city. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's that speech that becomes so ingrained in the character. Yeah, like that's the vibe I originally wanted for the Arbiter, because I loved the CW show so much early on. It kind of went off the rails later, but early on it was peak.
That's an entirely different conversation, my friend. I'd love to have you back on to trash the Arrowverse for a little while. That'd be great.
I love, it would be a combination of trashing, but also like mourning. Like what happened? How did we get here?
What happened? How did we get here? This is Speaking of the
Yeah.
Arbiter, in preparation for this episode, I did a lot of research. I went back, I watched all the episodes again. I went through, I deep dived. The Death Ranger has my undivided attention right now because you have described it as the Arbiter is not evil. And I looked at that post, I'm like, did he like autocorrect that? Like, is that not supposed to say that? Like, is that not supposed to be there?
It is
Like
capital.
the
It is.
Arbiter is evil. And to understand the story that you're going for, to have such a darker tone to it, to compare the Arbiter to Endeavor. Tell me more about that.
Oh man, you do pay attention to the stories. I like that. I mean, I love My Hero Academia. Obviously, I think it's one of the best modern superhero stories. And yeah,
For
Endeavor
sure.
as a character, I love what they did. It's almost like Vegeta, like dialed up to 11, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, we're going to talk about how you're a very abusive father, like because Vegeta is. We never talk about it because
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball Z, but with Endeavor, that they put that at the forefront of his character, and it's like one of those things where when you're watching it, you hate, like you're with the story where it's like you hate Endeavor. You see him as Todoroki sees him in this one light, and it's like, no, he's a jerk. Like he needs to be stopped. He's a monster. But then when you see the tragedy behind his character, the desperation, the weakness, the insecurity that really
Mm-hmm.
drove him to want to be better than All Might, to the point where even he didn't realize how far he had gone until he kind of like stops and looks around and goes, and then not until he's put in a position of being All Might does he now realize, like, oh my god, what have I done? It's like all of that nuance is what and I'm hoping I've done an effective job so far in Unworthy, where like the audience, or like the Rangers rather, we the audience, we view Arbor through one lens. Even his backstory in episode 3, if you think about it, that was through the lens of the Chrono Ranger, who just knew the story, and you were kind of
Mm-hmm.
seeing the story play out from his narration. But it's not a actual. This is the POV of what the Arbiter experienced, and this is how he felt.
Mm.
Um, and with the Death Ranger, that's what I really want to explore. Um, and you kind of need a villain, a bigger villain, to showcase the inner hero of a villain, or someone villainous or antagonistic rather. Maybe villain's the wrong word. Maybe
And
antagonist is a better word.
who better
Um,
than the Omega Death Ranger? Who better for
exactly.
that?
Something that really embodies the idea of death, and what started the Arbiter on his journey was Draken, but it was the death of his
Mm.
world. You never really
Mm.
saw the details of what happened in that situation. We don't
Mm-hmm.
really know, other than, oh, he's, there's a moment in episode 3 that was very, and this is the long term storytelling planning, where it's like there's one scene in episode 3 where you see the Arbiter holding a doll, and he kind of looks at
Mm-hmm.
the devastation and he holds it close to his heart, and you don't see anything else. And that I was like, and that was what, like almost 4 years ago now that we did that. And it's like,
Mm.
remember that scene because it's gonna come back in 4 years. It's a very
For real.
important scene.
This is some MCU stuff right here. Remember this one moment because it's gonna come back
Yes.
and be really important.
Yes, it's foreshadowing for what's going to happen later, and the Death
Okay.
Ranger's opportunity, because we're gonna see more of the Arbiter for sure, and some sides of the Arbiter we've never seen in Episode 5, but we're not gonna get a deep dive into his past, and that's what we're gonna do in the Death Ranger, where it takes a villain
Mm.
to really see true heart and soul. And Death Ranger, I was also very inspired by Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, the sequel
I saw
with
that.
Death.
I saw that, and I was like,
So
yes,
good,
yes,
so good,
yes.
so good. That movie is so good.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, just the idea of like when you face down death, what does it reveal about yourself? And this is
Mm.
not to be like that Arbor's a hero. I don't think he's a hero either. But everyone's the hero of their own story, and I think Death Ranger will be our opportunity to see what the Arbiter actually thinks of himself. He says it. He says he's the will of the Morphin Grid. He says this is what has to be done. He himself believes it, but we never actually seen the emotion behind why he believes it,
Right.
and we can only
What
do
drove
that
a
by
man
kind
to
of
this
getting
point?
exactly what
Mm.
drives a man to become a monster, right? So that's what we're gonna explore
Ooh,
in
that's a
Death Ranger.
line that need to
I'm
go on a
excited about
t-shirt, bro. What drives a man to become a monster? That's got to go on a t-shirt, brother.
it.
Oh man. Like You make me want to build a time machine and just get off this pod and then just time travel like 5 years in the future. Just be like, you've been missing for 5 years. Yeah, no, I where's the episode at, bro? I know it's done by now. Where's Death Ranger at? I know it's done. You said you're on episode 7? Season 2? What? Okay. Hold on. Oh man. That's gonna be so good. The Lord Zed prequel completely gave me a curveball. What can you tell me about the Lord Zed prequel, man?
I can tell you that I wish we had the time and budget to make it a live action story.
For real,
what's probably happening right now, the plan is just to make it a comic, and then maybe in the future, if we have time, if we really want to do it, maybe we'll do an actual live action short. Maybe. No promises. Comic first.
Comic first.
But it's the fill-in, because if you notice, we've done a backstory for basically everybody except the Unworthy Rangers, and the Unworthy Rangers have had I make it a point. The main characters, right? Yeah. I make it a point to pepper in details throughout their conversations that you can kind of piece together what their past is, and even episode 5 there'd be more details that like where does Zach go, and like there's gonna be a lot of allusions to where he went and what happened and all this. But the Lord Zed prequel would basically be the origin for the status quo of Earth 218 and those Rangers, because there's a story there of like why is the team the way it is, why is Trini there but
instead
Rocky,
of Aisha, right? But Rocky and Adam are right.
Exactly.
I had those questions and I was like, interesting. Gotcha.
They even talk about episode 2, Tommy name drops Lokar, she name drops Lord Zed and how powerful he was, as in they defeated him. Like
I saw the Mind Flayer as inspiration for Lokar, and I was like, I'm scrolling past this. I can't even. I'm going to be shaking in my boots for that one. Yeah. Speaking of Aisha, what is it? The Last Ninjetti. Is that on the Patreon? Do I need to get the Patreon real quick and hop on?
Definitely subscribe to the Patreon. Help support us.
For sure. I need to,
right now, we've got the pilot is up there, the trailer, and we got a pilot so far in the trailer, and Ninja's Oath is basically an epilogue to Last Ninjetti, but full production officially starts in spring when it gets warm.
Yeah.
My girlfriend Crystal's like, "When's Aisha? When's my turn?" I was like, "All right, don't worry, baby, we got it.
We got you. When I saw, I think Last Ninjetti really shows that, like, again, you've taken the foundations of the Power Rangers universe, but you've made it your own. Remind me of Ninjor's brother's name. Pronounce it properly for me, because I was about to say Nightcore.
Nightcore,
Ninja-Con. That's a completely original character. That's an Unworthy original, to my understanding.
Sort of. It's one of those things where I took something that existed, but I made it our own. So he's not. Ninja-Con is actually just a recolored skin of Ninjor as a toy. There's like a figure of Ninjor.
Really?
They got recolored red, and they packaged it with Ninja Storm. It's weird, like toy lore.
Wait a minute.
But
Wait a minute.
They did. Exactly. They did a recolor skin of Ninjor and re-released him for Ninja Storm. So and they called him Ninja-Con. It's not in the show. It's not in the comic. It's not anything. It's just a toy.
That answers a question about Ninja Storm that always bothered me about a lot of the Power Rangers series. But where did Cam and them get Ninja Power coins from in the first place?
Good question.
That answers that question for me.
There's a lot of questions, yeah. And maybe somebody in the toy department was like, you know what? I'm going to answer that question. It was Ninjor, but he was red.
Basically.
Logo instead of the. But yeah, so the idea of him being Ninjor's brother is something that's original to Unworthy, where it's like, let me take this really obscure toy and turn it into an actual canon story. So it was like, all right, let's why is he Red Ninjor? Okay, he's Ninjor's brother. What is his story? Well, I want him to kind of be the Madara to Ninjor's Hashirama, if you watch Naruto. I assume you do. Yes, you do. I see it in your face. So yeah, it's a battle of ideologies, like a Dante versus a Virgil kind of thing. That's the idea there.
Whoa, that's No, I gotta let that sit for a second. Hold on, Madara. I was already like, when you said that Aisha is the Deku to Ninja's All Might, I was like, I'm here for that. Let's go. I can't wait to see more of Aisha. That okay. I'm I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see that. And will Ninja Khan and Aisha be tying back as well, back into episode 5 as well? Will we see them as well?
They will be tying into the series. I'm not going to elaborate how and when, but they will be. Because I don't want
At
to
some
do
point.
nothing I do. I ever want to feel like it's wasted or like just out there. Like everything that I
Right.
do, I try and tie it back to come full circle back to the main series. So it's
Okay.
like like the best parts of the MCU before it also went off the rails. I felt like everything felt like it was going towards a single point. And that's what I really took inspiration for with Unworthy, where it's like anything that we do, it even seems like a random side story. Even a couple minutes before it came out, people were like, "How does this relate back to the Arbiter and Unworthy at all?" And it's like, don't worry about it. I swear it's gonna make sense when you see
I
it.
swear it's gonna make
Like
sense at some
everything to kind
point.
of go back.
Just give me some time.
Yeah,
We're trying to render this
yeah,
out right quick.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Bro, I felt that when I was sitting there waiting, and I was like, "What's going on with Psycho Menace that night?" And I was looking, and it's like still rendering. I'm like, I feel that pain, brother. I know you guys are probably putting
Bruh,
ice cubes on the computer, bro. Like, come on,
bro.
please,
I was up for 2 days straight. I was like, please, just work, trying so many
just
different things to
work.
get it to render correctly.
Oh
Bro, yeah,
man,
it was a struggle, but yeah. It's always that way too. It doesn't matter like how far out it's planned to be released. It's like somehow you always end up like the night before going, please, please don't
please,
fail.
please, no, don't do this to me now. No, yeah,
People are
yeah.
waiting.
No, that's bro. Okay, so speaking of which, is there anything, you don't have to give me any specifics? Is there anything else outside of Death Ranger and Lord Zed and Last Jetty that you guys are working on in preparation for episode 5? Is there anything else that we're gonna get to see or something like that? Another Zach Taylor
Mm,
short or something along those lines?
mm. What we did do, and I'm probably gonna release it on YouTube at some point. We did do a Red versus Green short for a jam movement contest. It was like
I
a
I
stunt
I
contest. I don't know if you saw
followed
it. We
that.
released it on
I saw
Instagram
it. That
only.
was great, bro. That was amazing. The Rangers of Earth 217, if I'm
Oh,
not mistaken.
thank
That was
Yeah,
such
yeah. It was
that was an amazing fight.
just gender bent Tommy. Yeah, gender bent Tommy, but back to normal gender.
Right, back to normal.
uh,
Yeah,
but yeah,
that was an
yeah,
amazing little
exactly.
fight.
Uh,
And I saw that you
but
had
other than
more.
that,
You other than that, that's
oh,
all we
I'm
got.
sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was saying you guys had. You seem like you had more. Like you posted a set image that showed them with their weapons, and I know that wasn't
Yeah,
in the rules for the jam fight.
exactly. So we didn't do it. We were going to, but we didn't have time. It was like, all right, well, we already probably have 60 seconds anyway because it's also a 60-second restriction. So it was
Right.
like if we if we want to, we'll come back to it. We'll finish it. So I'm debating if we should hold off on it and then maybe extend it and then release it on YouTube or just release it on YouTube as it is. And I feel like if I release it on YouTube, that'll satisfy us, and then we won't want to even bother finishing it. So it's like maybe I should hold off and then make
Okay.
it like a YouTube exclusive if we extend it. But yeah, other than that, it's really just in, like the post or the pre-production rather for episode 5 is gonna be basically until the spring anyway. From now until spring, the amount of things that need to be done to finish filming is a list. So
Mm.
it's going to be a lot of that. But then after Death Ranger, after Last Jetty, after episode 5, we have an original pilot we're working on, and it's basically an amalgamation of basically everything you've seen in Unworthy so far. Where it's like everything I've done has been kind of practice to do something original, but it's gonna still be in the vein of Tokusatsu and Sentai because that's my love, like it.
Yeah.
But everything like kaiju, like mecha, sci-fi, space,
Oh,
powers,
don't say
martial
kaiju now.
arts,
My
gunplay.
co-host is gonna love you, bro. Like he's a
Oh,
huge
then you're
kaiju.
gonna love
Yeah.
episode 5.
Oh man. Oh
Oh, ho,
man.
ho, ho.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Um, dude. Like since 2018 when it first came out with the small love letter to both the 2017 film, the 1997 film, creating your own, um I was like, oh, this guy's onto something. And then I kept following. It was episode 3. Episode 3 was an inspiration where you made me want to start writing my own stuff. I was like, I gotta start. If Jordan's out here doing it in New Jersey, Chicago, we got work to do. We got to catch up. They on episode 5 already. Um, and subsequently, because of me just talking about it so much and bringing up your name and whatnot, my co-host Jourdan started working on something as well too. And I can say, at bare minimum, you've inspired 2 young filmmakers to be like, we need to make our own Power Rangers fan films. Like, we need to make our own stuff,
That's
and we see that it's physically possible at the scale that we want it to. You know, it's just
yeah.
amazing to see all that. Uh, let me ask you this: the entire I remember watching another interview with you, and you said that the entire idea and the entire meaning behind, unworthy is let me see how I can phrase this. And asking the actual question, are you worthy? Like you said, we all kind of go through that point in our lives where we're just like, are we worthy? Are we truly on the right path? That type of thing. Um,
Yeah.
is that the true purpose of the entire storyline? Is there something else that you want by episode 5 for people to understand about this storyline?
Um, I mean, there's a couple of themes floating around in Unworthy, depending on the character you're looking through.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the main takeaway is the fact that it inspires you is very important, or not even just important, but I'm very thankful for that, because that's kind of the idea. It's if Arbiter is life and life shows up when you don't expect it and knocks you down, he beats you down to your knees. And I love that quote from Rocky Balboa, which might be my favorite Rocky movie. Maybe. Yeah. But that epic speech where Rocky's talking to his son, and it's like, I hit hard, I'm a boxer, but no one hits as hard as life. And like
Mm,
if you let it, life will knock you down to your knees, and it won't let you up.
mm,
And no one hits harder than life. And that's kind of what the Arbiter represents. And the idea is, what do you do when life knocks you down? You got to get up. Basically just don't give up.
mm.
And JDF, rest in peace. That was something that he used to talk about a lot too. Is just don't give up.
Something I think the
And
Power
it sounds
Rangers
so
has always
cliche.
been,
Like,
honestly. Yeah. I was gonna
yeah,
say,
I
I
mean,
feel
but
yes.
it sounds cliche, but it's also, I think, just the most basic truth to life is like sometimes persistence. Man, I'm gonna say sometimes. I think most times persistence is the key. Like, it will carry you through even the darkest times as long as you don't give up. It's never truly over until you give up. And that's
Mm,
what Unworthy at its core represents. It's like,
mm.
no matter how many times you get knocked down, if you get knocked down 6 times, you gotta give up 7. That's what Unworthy is. So it's like, no matter how bleak, no matter how dark, no matter how vicious it gets, you gotta look it right in the eye and be like, no, not today. That's very Captain America too. I even love that speech. That's in Civil War, but taken from the comic. You know.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I think
I
that's
think
the
so.
main thing. And there's also like found family, and trust, teamwork, and all that stuff. But yeah,
I'm definitely seeing found family in the mix with the 218 crew and how things are going down, especially the amount of trauma they've been through in like a week maybe over the course of the episodes alone is just like, yeah, you guys are family now. This is it. We had to bury Rocky and no, Adam and Tommy. Like, we're family now. This is it. This is us. Um Something else you brought up, Cap. I'm feeling like, is it true that um Eric Fuchs's character, Rocky, is he very Captain America
yeah.
inspired? Because his newfound optimism after episode 3 and how he is, I'm like, it's just giving me like Creed 3 meets Captain America and inspiration right now. And even the Chrono Ranger said himself, it's like, I like Red's newfound optimism. I'm enjoying it. Would you say that it's very
Yeah,
Captain America
I mean,
inspired? Mm-hmm.
a little bit of Captain. I would say Spider-Man becoming Captain America. It's like that. Like the
Spider-Man,
idea that
huh?
yeah, like Tom Holland Spider-Man, like the naivete, like you're not quite ready yet,
Mm-hmm.
kid kind of idea to becoming more mature, becoming moments episode 5 where it's like Rocky is starting to come into his own as a leader. That's kind of his arc in the entire story. Like he starts off as like Rocky, the guy that's not Jason. That's how everybody kind of feels about him, including
Yeah.
himself. You find out in episode 3, and
Mm-hmm.
then from there, that's kind of the beginning of his story of becoming a leader. So Pink is kind of like people think. I love watching reaction videos from people watching episode 1 because everybody's just like because Pink starts the roll call, so everybody's like, is she the leader?
Mm-hmm.
My headcanon is that she actually is the like I wouldn't say second in command, but the more experienced of them because if Jason was a leader prior and then Tommy became leader after Jason's death, Kim is at
Mm.
least second in command in terms of experience. So she kind of like holds the reins when things are dire, but
Right.
it's like Jason is learning to step into the role of leader, especially now that Tommy, who was the official leader, is now gone, and Kim
That
doesn't
was
really
such a
take the
touching
role as
moment,
leader.
watching the two of them bond like that.
Mm,
I sorry, the when end of episode 3, she's distraught over Tommy's death and whatnot, and you see
yeah,
Rocky kind of help her up, and they start retraining and whatnot. That was such a touching moment. I'm like, that's perfect. Everything about that scene, every minute detail, I was just like,
yeah.
this right here. Yeah,
No, thank
yeah,
you. Yeah,
that's
yeah. That's
that's
just
such an
reference
interesting way to
like
think about it.
rock first step. Yeah,
I didn't think
because of what a
about
leader
that.
is. When you get down to somebody that can push people, like facilitate, motivate them, inspire them.
Mm-hmm.
So in the moments where she's at her lowest, Rocky literally and figuratively picks her up.
Mm. Hey, another just random out there question. Um, Episode 2, Chrono Ranger
So,
shows up for the first time. Are those all your toys? Are those all your props? Because I'm just
mm,
like, for you to pull out the original, was it? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the original Mighty Morphin Battle Machine Gauntlet. I'm like, they either spent a lot of money or bro is just a collector like that. There's no way he just had that lying around, or they just found that on eBay somewhere. Was it fan made? Did you have that
no,
already?
most of the props. No, basically all the props I make, and I make them because I used to be a cosplayer. So like there are some costumes I don't like. I didn't make the soldier armor from Psycho Menace. I didn't make the Psycho Gold armor or Psycho or Empress either. Or actually, any of this. I
Okay,
didn't make any of the Psychos really. I designed the suits in terms of like how the Empress was supposed to look with the gauntlets and stuff like that.
right.
But the actual props I usually end up making. There's a few instances where I haven't, but far and away, I've made most of the props that you see. And then no, it's not things I own. It's just that's where all the budgeting goes. It's like it's all in costumes and the
I'm
sets
for
and
sure, bro.
food
I'm
and
sure that. So was the Chrono Rangers Morpher also custom made as well too?
yep, yep.
Oh
And that
man,
costume I did make. That was 3D combined with I took a Beast Morpher toy and gutted it and customized it. Yeah,
bro.
it's like I
Yeah,
don't make
okay,
cosplays for myself anymore. I make cosplays for everyone else.
for sure. You truly are a Billy in a certain sense. It's like, oh, you guys need more gear. All right, give me like 2 days. I got you. Like, let me just fire up the 3D printer real
Yeah.
quick. Yeah, okay.
Like behind
That's
the
actually
scenes,
really dope. I
joke
didn't
is
think of
that
that.
I'm oh yeah, I'm like Iron Man and Eric, our action designer, is like Captain America. Like he's like the team leader, like squad, let's go together. Like so that's why he also fits great as the Red Ranger and as Rocky. But then I'm more
Mm-hmm.
like Iron Man, where it's like I just make all the cool stuff, and
I just make all the cool
but
stuff
you
and
can
just make
lead
us
the
look
charge.
cool.
Yeah,
Bro,
that's me.
yeah, I just make all the cool stuff. Again, what is it? Your girlfriend's her behind the scenes footage gave me so much insight into it. From you guys using a 5D camera to shoot episode 4, which it does not look like a 5D camera. I wouldn't have mistaken it for a cinema camera. From that to, again, seeing Eric Fuchs, and it's like, does everybody have their roles? Okay, cool. Him knocking on wood, it's like, hopefully we'll have a long day. Like, that little moments like that was so cool to see. And hearing you say it again, it's like, it's reminding me of it over again. Dude,
Yeah.
this has been a pleasure to have you on. You know, I can't wait for
thank you,
episode
man.
5.
Talking to you.
I
Me
really
too.
can't. What is it? Where can people find you? And you know, what can they look forward to next outside of, you know, the Psycho Menace in episode 5? Is there anything that you're planning to release anytime soon? Anything like that? You know?
Okay. Follow us on Instagram, Unworthy Productions, on YouTube, Unworthy Productions. If you have the extra ability to help fund our next stuff by donating on Patreon. The next things we'll be working on, though, like I said, episode 5, Death Ranger, Last in Jetty will be a Patreon exclusive, and stay tuned for the original pilot that we're going to be working on and releasing more info about next year. I'm trying to keep details on that light, but I'm excited for that. It's if you like the adult energy in our version of Power Rangers, you're gonna like that, because I'm trying to kind of basically incorporate all the things I've learned making Unworthy into making that. And if you like Guyver, for example, like I'm a big Guyver fan, I'm drawing a lot of inspiration for that for our own original thing.
Okay, all right. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see all of it. Again, time travel. I'm just going to like 2035 and then just hop on to YouTube again. People will be like, "You've been missing for years." Don't even worry about that. Just what's the internet password? Like, come on. I'm trying to watch my shows. With that being said, this has been another episode of Madman Activities. We're gonna go ahead and close out. Peace, y'all. Project